Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. I'm reading The Wheel of Time for the first time and sharing the experience with you. This is One Good Turn, The Eye of the World, and today we are covering Chapter 27! We get a nice chapter. We're back with Perrin and Egwene. It's interesting. I don't feel like very much happens, or at least not very much that I clued into as uniquely important, at least in the first main half of this chapter. There's some very important stuff right at the end, but nevertheless, the bulk of this chapter is dominated by Perrin being very frustrated. He's frustrated with how slowly the traveling people move. They start late, they rest early. Several days in, he feels as if, despite the extremely polite facade that they give, there's still this fear and this dislike simmering just underneath that he doesn't like. He doesn't really dislike the people per se. There's a big part of this that is he doesn't want to bring them harm. He does not want to cause them harm. And he feels that by traveling with them, if the Trollocs catch up, they will decimate the traveling people, and he doesn't like that idea. He goes to Elias several times, and he keeps trying to get him to leave. And Elias keeps responding, saying, I have this feeling that we shouldn't leave. And it's never any more specific than that. He tries to impart some wisdom to Perrin. Relax, lad. Take life as it comes. Run when you have to. Fight when you must. Rest when you can. Which I hope he hears. There's always singing and dancing with the traveling people, and it seems that many girls do a special dance, which greatly embarrasses Perrin. He's extremely awkward. At some point he thinks, what would Rand do? He knows about girls. And again, I'm thinking, are we talking about the same Rand? Egwene takes some time to learn this new seductive dance, and it's all in all a really wonderful time. And she's getting closer with Aram as well. There was a bit about how they have different names for songs than what the songs are called in Emond's Field. I think that's a neat little cultural thing there. We get an interaction between Perrin and Egwene where he sort of confronts her about seeming so happy despite the danger, despite not knowing about their friends and so on. Enjoying yourself, aren't you? Why shouldn't I? We don't all have to work at being miserable the way you do. Don't we deserve a little chance to enjoy ourselves? I thought you wanted to get to Tar Valon. You won't learn to be an Aes Sedai here. And I thought you didn't like me wanting to become an Aes Sedai. Blood and ashes, do you believe we're safe here? Are these people safe with us here? A Fade could find us any time. And then we get arguably one of my favorite lines from Egwene thus far in the book. Whatever is going to happen will happen, whether we leave today or next week. That's what I believe now. Enjoy yourself, Perrin. It might be the last chance we have. There's some wisdom in that. I mean, I also feel like she would blame herself if the Myrddraal and the Trollocs did attack and then wipe out the traveling people in their search for him. But again, it's another affirmation of what Elias was saying earlier. So it was a sweet moment. Perrin has an important thought. Elias is right. They don't have to try to convert you to the way of the leaf. It seeps into you. I liked that. For the most part, his dreams are normal. He becomes more familiar with the wolves that are traveling around them. They aren't in the camp, if I recall correctly, but he does familiarize himself with them and their motivations and what they're thinking, which is to say they're getting tired of traveling with the people as well. They're meant to roam. They haven't been able to hunt in a while, at least nothing more than field mice. One of them wants this thing done, but wants it done more quickly. The other two are losing their patience. All of it was clear in Perrin's mind. Fervently he wished for Caemlyn, for Moraine and Tar Valon. Even if there were no answers, there could be an end to it. Elias looked at him, and he was sure the yellow-eyed man knew. Please let there be an end. Then he has another dream, and this is when the chapter really kicks off, for me at least. I say as someone who isn't uniquely fond of dream interpretation, but there's not so much to interpret here. It's fairly nicely spelled out. He is sharpening his blade or something in Mistress Luhan's kitchen, and there's a wolf facing the door, and Baalzamon walks in. And I read that and I think, okay, they've tracked him. They know where he is now. So they are going to have to move, and move more quickly. Sooner rather than later. Baalzamon says,
"Is this what you have to protect you? Well, I have faced this before. Many times before."
And I think we've more or less gathered from Perrin's previous chapters about his dreams being more or less normal, but with wolves, that something the wolves are doing is helpful to him. And Baalzamon burns the wolf in the dream very badly. He shouts for Baalzamon to leave him alone, and Baalzamon says,
"You cannot run from me. You cannot hide from me. If you are the one, you are mine."
If you are the one, very, very important, insofar as it continues along with this idea that the Dark One doesn't know which of the three is the Dragon Reborn, which is great. I like that idea. I like that he doesn't know. A raven pecks at his eye, and he wakes up. And it's important to note, because obviously, after the thorn in Rand's dream, I'm expecting physical harm for Perrin in the real world, out of the dream. But the passage is, Perrin screamed as the black beak pierced his left eye, and sat up, clutching his face, surrounded by the sleeping wagons of the traveling people. Slowly he lowered his hands. There was no pain, no blood, but he could remember it, remember the stabbing agony. So I'm wondering if it's because the wolf was there to protect him, even if he may not be now, or this was, like, I presume he's marked regardless. So I don't know that there necessarily needs to be physical damage. At the end of the day, what I gather from this is the Dark One has found him. Elias comes in, and we get this important segment. Beyond the trees where the wagons lay, the wolves howled, one sharp cry from three throats. He shared their sensations. Fire, pain, fire, hate, hate, kill.
"Yes,"
Elias said softly.
"It is time. Get up, boy. It's time for us to go."
I wonder how much Elias knows about the dream. We get the sense that the wolves know about the dream. Rain comes out and he gives a huff about them leaving so quickly, but he says that they're going to be changing directions as well. He says, "I think the wagons will go east, perhaps all the way to the spine of the world. Perhaps we'll find a steading there and stay there a while."
"Trouble never enters the steading," Elias agreed, "but the Ogier are none too open to strangers."
"Everyone is open to the traveling people. Besides, even Ogier have pots and things to mend." Even though they want to leave without a fuss, Rain insists, and he gathers all of the traveling people and makes them shake hands and hug and what have you, each and every one. Egwene does not put up a fuss about leaving, which is important, although Aram does. He pulls her aside, and she has some sort of gift, a bracelet of beads or something like that, blue. And the two are off arguing, even though Perrin can't hear what they were saying. Eventually, the fight breaks up. Scowling, Aram pushed away through the crowd, abandoning the rest of the farewell. Ela watched him go, hesitating on the point of calling him back. She's relieved, too, Perrin thought. Relieved he doesn't want to go with us, with Egwene. Yeah, I'm relieved of that. I'm relieved Egwene doesn't want to stay. I still don't like Aram. I don't trust him. Then we get the actual goodbye. "You came in peace," Rain intoned, bowing formally, hands on his chest. "Depart now in peace. Always will our fires welcome you in peace. The way of the leaf is peace."
"Peace be on you always," Elias replied, "and on all the people." He hesitated, then added, "I will find the song, or another will find the song. But the song will be sung, this year or in a year to come. As it once was, so it shall be again, world without end."
Rain blinked in surprise, and Ela looked completely flabbergasted, but all the other Tuatha'an murmured in reply, "World without end, world and time without end." Rain and his wife hurriedly said the same after everyone else. So you really do get the sense that Elias likes the traveling people. Even if he disagrees with them, he likes them. You get a lot in this chapter of Ela doesn't really like Elias as well. She's polite, but cold. And you also get a bit of Egwene spends a lot of time with Ela, which will come in at the very end of the chapter here for an enjoyable segment. Elias feels a little, I guess you could say, embarrassed when Egwene and Perrin look at him kind of surprised for having said that thing about the song. They meet up with the wolves again, and Perrin catches what passes between them. Fire Eyes, Pain, Heartfang, Death, Heartfang. Perrin knew what they meant. The Dark One. They were telling about his dream. Their dream. Then we get the extremely important part here. The most important part of the chapter, I think. Perrin did not want to think about his dream. He had thought that the wolves made them safe. Not complete. Accept. Full heart. Full mind. You will struggle. Only complete when you accept. At that point, he forcefully keeps the wolves out of his head. He didn't know he can do that, but now he knows he can do it. Obviously, the idea here is once he accepts this part of himself and he accepts the wolves in full, they can at least protect him from the dreams, if nothing else. But that is still something that he's struggling with. I have no doubt his journey will be coming to accept that part of himself, but for now he shuts it out, and that puts him in danger again. He notices that Egwene still wears the string of blue beads that Aram had given her, and we get the final segment of the chapter, all of which I think is great. That Aram had tried to talk her into staying with the traveling people, Perrin was sure. He was glad she had not given in, but he wished she did not finger the beads so fondly. Finally he said, "What did you spend so much time talking about with Ela? If you weren't dancing with that long-legged fellow, you were talking to her like it was some kind of secret." "Ela was giving me advice on being a woman," Egwene replied absently. He began laughing, and she gave him a hooded, dangerous look that he failed to see. "Advice? Nobody tells us how to be men. We just are." "That," Egwene said, "is probably why you make such a bad job of it." Up ahead, Elias cackled loudly. Very funny and enjoyable end. Don't know that I have too much else to say on the chapter, really. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.